Okay, thank you for staying with me through this. If you weren't already aware, as I have been teaching my own children songs and basic sight singing and along with that some music literacy at home, we've been making YouTube videos to share with other families who are trying to do the same so they can learn too. And I am not a professional videographer, and that shows sometimes. And my 3 children that are singing with me are not actors, and they are very real children who have to be reminded about behavior and things like that. So it really is just me setting up my iPhone to record and to share what we're doing in our home. But everything is completely free for anyone to use, in a co-op or in their own home with their own children. And if I was there, I would try to give a little more information about that. But the good news is that YouTube is extremely user-friendly. And if I can figure it out to post these videos, anyone can figure it out to watch some videos. I really do believe. So I'm putting my information here. And if you have a packet, that it will also be there. And so I'm sharing this. I didn't want to type it because, I don't want a bunch of spam. But I'm very happy to hear from any of you who, if you run into some trouble or if you need some help, send me a message and I'd be glad to try to help you out. And you can also use the YouTube messaging system. That has been pretty reliable for me to see those and to be able to respond to those. So if you just go to YouTube and you look in the search bar and you type in Children of the Open Air, you should find us. So, all right. So as I said before, reading music is learning a foreign language. And just as we would say that learning to decode letters doesn't make a child literate, it's the same for music. So music literacy may not be exactly what you think. There's a renowned music professor, and his name is John Feyerabend, and he said that music literacy boils down to 3 basic things. And number 1 is singing tunefully. And it begins in the womb for the child with what they're hearing music, and then when they're born, lullabies and, being in church and hearing us all sing together and hearing singing in the home. So singing tunefully, and then they start to acquire those skills to be able to match pitch and do that. Number 2, the second aspect of music literacy is responding beatfully. And beatfully is his made-up word. But what it means is being able to feel a rhythm and feel the beat. And so, if you're at a stadium and they start, doing We Will Rock You, and they're stomp, 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 that kind of a thing, that they can do it and feel the rhythm, and they're not going to be awkward. And that they won't embarrass themselves in a dance because they'll be able to feel the beat and feel the music. And, that starts, again, in the cradle, really, or even in the womb, with rocking our babies and even, bouncing a toddler on your knee if you're bouncing them to the beat. So number 1, singing tunefully. Number 2, responding beatfully. And number 3 is expressing artfully. Now, I understand the meaning of that one will be less readily apparent. So I'm going to explain it a little bit with a story. That is a true story that I was a witness to. And so when I was in college, and we were a part of a performance, and one of the musicians who was playing an instrument, I won't say which, but they were playing an instrument, and in the performance, they somehow got off by 1 measure. That's, it was an instrumental piece, but so, if we're singing Fount of Every Blessing, they would be on, or if we're singing Fount of Every, they would be on Blessing Tune My Heart, so it's like, it's not lining up. There's a lot of dissonance. It's, you can tell things are not right. And throughout, as this is going on, the director, the conductor is like trying to get the attention of this person, and the players next to this person are kind of like, trying to indicate so that they can fix it. But they never got it. They stayed off by one measure for the entire piece. And we're kind of surprised at the end, like, what's going on? And so this is a musician who's playing at the collegiate level. And would you say that this musician was musically literate? She was excellent at decoding music. She was playing the correct notes, and she was executing them on an instrument, kind of the way a computer would process information. But what would Charlotte Mason say about that? And this quote is from Parents and Children. And she says, "We begin to understand that mere technique, however perfect, whether in the rendering of flesh tints in painting, or marbles, or of a musical composition of extreme difficulty, is not necessarily high art. It is beginning to dawn on us that art is great only in proportion to the greatness of the idea it expresses, while what we ask of the execution, the technique, is that it shall be adequate to the inspiring idea." So when she says, we ask for execution and technique to be adequate to the inspiring idea, that is one of our goals of music literacy. That is expressing artfully. And that is what we want for our children, so that they will become fully music literate. They will be capable of expressing artfully, whether they are singing or playing on an instrument or just listening to and responding to music that they're hearing. We also read in Parents and Children, in the chapter on the Great Recognition, that there is no subject which has not a fresh and living way of approach. In teaching music, again, let him once perceive the beautiful laws of harmony, the personality, so to speak, of music, looking out upon him from among the queer little black notes. So lastly, in a Parents' Review article by Annie Jessie Kerwin, she says, "Many play the piano well, but never listen at all, because music is taught through the eye and not through the ear, which is almost as foolish as trying to teach drawing by smell." And so, if we want to avoid some of these pitfalls with our children, with their singing or with their playing an instrument, then we need to avoid just teaching music by eye, just learning to decode. And so we'll be doing some short lessons tomorrow in singing and solfege, and I hope to share some tips and techniques with you that can help you as you sing with your students. And again, if you run into some difficulties, or if you have a student who's just, having a little bit of extra trouble, I would love to hear from you. Again, I've had different parents contact me with some of these troubles, and oftentimes I can say, oh, you should try this video, or you should try this technique, that sort of a thing. And so I'm always very happy to do that. All right, I will enjoy singing with you tomorrow.